Everybody, that's D Gun. I am R. Ellis. We are hanging out with you on this Friday. Just wrap things up with Chris Franklin. If you missed any of it with Chris, any of our interview with Chris, you can always go to JAKIBsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel to catch up on anything that we did either today, earlier this week. It's the beauty, Derek, and I know there's all of our shows are there. So you can always go back and check out anything we did. Yeah.
And we've had some great guests on this summer. You know, Jason Kelsey was phenomenal a few weeks ago.
Lane Johnson off the charts.
Brandon Graham, of course, makes the comment. It blows up on Twitter. People took what he said out of context. There's over 2 million views on that comment. And a lot of people that commented were either Kansas City fans or non-Eagle fans. And
that's right.
But Brandon Graham said, you know what? It is what it is, man.
Yeah, BG lets it roll off. Yeah, so he's certainly a guy who's a lot more chill when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you can always like, comment, subscribe to JAKIB Sports. All right, so let's hit the schedules, Derek, because we have gone over the Eagles' schedule. We know how challenging it is. We know there's, especially coming off the bye, what that looks like and how big a challenge that's going to be. But all right, let's start with Dallas. If we're looking around the NFC East and what their schedule bears, okay? All right, so here we go. You tell me. And I know we're kind of just doing this off the top of our head, but, whatever. They'll start off at the Giants. I mean, I think Dallas wins that, but that's not an easy game by any stretch at the Giants to start off.
No. The Giants are a team that always gives them fits also.
True. That's very true, actually.
And the fact that they're playing this one at the Giants, and, of course, if I'm Brian Daboll, throughout training camp, the first thing I'm saying is this team won 12 games last year. This is a tone setter for us. This is a statement. People think last year was a fluke that we got into the playoffs, especially after we got embarrassed by the Eagles in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. This is a new year, a new directive, a new mission. We could set a tone and send a message if we can take down the Cowboys, who beat us twice last year in the first game of the season here in our home stadium on a Sunday night.
Good point. Okay. Yeah, at New York. All right. So then they come back the next – it's a Sunday night game. Then they come back the next week. They get Aaron Rodgers at home. Yeah, you get a New York double dip here. You go Giants and then Jets.
How about your first two games of the season, both home and away, are in the same stadium? How about that? Think about that. The Jets and the Giants play in the same stadium.
Right, but the second game for Dallas is at Dallas.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're looking at Dallas. I'm sorry. I keep thinking Giants. My bad.
No, that's okay.
You're right.
Yeah. So you're at New York for them, and then home Jets. That's two tough ones out of the chute.
Can the Jets' offensive line hold up against Dallas's pass? That is the huge key. Will Aaron Rodgers have enough time to step back and find the likes of Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, so on and so forth? That's going to be a key.
That's going to be a key. Let me give you the other key. Is Dak going to be able to not throw a pick to Sauce Gardner or one of those, really, quality defensive backs that the Jets roll out there? So that's going to be an interesting, sight to see as well. All right. So
can you imagine Sauce Gardner against either Brandon Cooks or CeeDee Lamb?
Mm-hmm. That's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Yep. Oh, and how much does Dak just not even look at his side too? Is that whoever's there? Are they just taken out of it because they don't mess with Sauce Gardner? That I wonder about that too. All right, so that two challenging ones. This is where they can kind of get going, maybe a little bit. Even though it's tough to go out to the West Coast, they're at Arizona. That should be a win.
I agree.
Come home against New England. I think that's a win as well. I agree. All right, but. Here we go. At San Fran on a Sunday night. That's week 5. At the Chargers the next week on a Monday night. That's not easy.
That's going to be tough. That you back-to-back weeks, you have the 49ers defense, and then you get Justin Herbert. That's not, and then you got the Chargers defense. You got Bosa and Derwin James to deal with. That's not easy. That's not easy. We talk about the Eagles schedule. Oh my goodness. This schedule is just as brutal the way it's lined up.
Yes. Yeah. That's tough. All right. So then they get their bye week in week 7. So we're up to week 7 now at this point. They come home for the Rams. I think that's a win. I think it's a pretty favorable game for them.
Yep.
They go to the Eagles. That's week 9. Gonna be a tough one, for sure.
And it's still early in the season, and we know what Dak's record is against the Eagles. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it really will. And then they come home. They get the Giants again, so they'll be finished with the Giants by week 10. They get the Giants at home there. Go to Carolina. I don't think Carolina is going to be a layup for teams. I think that'll be a challenge.
I don't either. I think by that point we'll know what Bryce Young is,
right,
or isn't. At that point. Carolina spent some money on this offseason. They have a decent offensive line. Miles Sanders running the ball, decent defense. Yeah, you're right. That's not going to be a cakewalk for them.
And then they are home for Washington. That is a 4:30 start. That's Thanksgiving. That's the Thanksgiving game. I like the Cowboys in that one if I'm just looking at it right now. Then they play Thursday. So they get the Thursday scheduling. Home against Seattle. Tough one. That's a tough one, right? Then they get a break because they get, 11 days off. But then it's the Eagles there on December 10th. Then they go to Buffalo, go to Miami.
Oh, my goodness.
Detroit home. And then at Washington. That's a really challenging finish there, starting with Seattle.
That's a murderer's row right there. I mean, my goodness, you get Josh Allen, Tua, Jared Goff, and close out against one. Jeez.
Yeah.
We keep talking about teams 1-12. I think because of the way the schedules are stacked, I think it's going to come down. I think the Eagles will win the division. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, though. I think it's going to be health factors involved here, timing of games, home or away situations. It's between those two teams, man. And plus, Dallas gets Detroit and the Eagles don't.
Right.
That's
a big break. That's a big break this year. Yeah,
yes.
I agree with you. I agree. So look, I'm not telling you the Eagles schedule isn't tough. It is. It might be the toughest in the league. That's not far off. That is not far off.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, for Dallas. All right, let's do. You want to do Washington next? Which one? Who you want to do next?
Let's do Washington.
All right, let's go Washington. All right, so here's how they open up. Week 1 should be a win. They're home against the Cardinals. Okay, so they have an opportunity to get off to a good start. But the next 3 weeks, they go to Denver. I think Denver is going to be a totally different team.
Yep.
Right. Home Buffalo, at Philly. So that's their next 3.
I see them starting out 1-3.
I agree. I think they win the opener and lose the next 3.
Yep.
Okay, now they could get back on their feet a little bit. Home against Chicago. That's a Thursday night game. Should be a win, I think. At Atlanta, not going to be easy. Yeah, I mean, that could go. That's a toss-up for me, that one.
I think Atlanta's defense, because of the money they spent bringing in X amount of personnel, I think Atlanta's defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. But can Ritter produce on the other side?
Well,
that's a big question mark.
You know where I'm at. They're my surprise team, so I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be tough. So, all right. So they at Atlanta, and then they get they're at the Giants. Here's their stretch. Oof. Listen to this stretch. Okay. Week 7 at Giants, home for the Eagles, at the Patriots, at the Seahawks, home for the Giants, at Dallas, Miami. They don't get their bye week until week 14.
Dude, I'm sorry, but that's a worse stretch than what the Eagles have. We talk about that Eagles 5-game stretch.
Yeah.
That stretch is worse than the Eagles.
That's terrible. I mean, at Atlanta, at Giants, Philly home, at New England, at Seattle, Giants home, at Dallas, at Miami. That's week 6 through 13 right there. That's 8 games.
If I'm Washington, I'm saying, man, this ain't fair. This ain't
all right. So after the bye, they're at the Rams. I mean, but still, it's hard to go to the West Coast. Then Christmas Eve.
Oh my goodness.
They get the Jets at New York, San Fran home, Dallas home. They're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if they'll win 8 games. They won 8 games last year.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if they'll win 8 games this year, to be honest.
Yeah. I agree with you. And that, that's a tenuous spot with a new owner coming in there. You're an
Yes.
inherited coach, man. Okay. All right. So that's Washington. So again, not easy. Let's go Giants now. And we'll also do San Fran, as I mentioned. All right. So the Giants, home against Dallas to open it up. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're doing the Giants now, right?
You're Giants. Yep.
Home against Dallas.
That's a Sunday night game. Yep.
Right. Yeah. At Arizona. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. At San Fran. We didn't do this, did we? No.
No.
Okay. At Arizona, toss up. Probably should be a win. At San Francisco, very tough on a Thursday night. Short rest, 4 days. Seattle home. At Miami.
My goodness.
At Buffalo. Washington home. Jets home. At Raiders. At Dallas. At Washington. New England home. Bye week 13. Home Green Bay. At New Orleans. Yeah, this is tricky. Rams home. Philly home.
Oh my God, dude! This is the year the NFC East pays its dues in terms of roadblocks, landmines, however you want to categorize it. All the teams in the NFC East. I mean, at least the Giants get to watch a revamped Green Bay team on their schedule. But my goodness, dude! I mean, it's like, can the Giants win 9 games on this schedule?
I'm kind of with Chris, like Chris Franklin earlier. I don't know what it is, Derek. It's just my gut, and I have a lot of respect for Dable. So I'm not. I just feel like they overachieved last year. I don't know that. It feels like a step back or just kind of a plateau for them. For me, I don't know that there's going to be giant improvement there. No pun intended.
Can you look at this Giants schedule and honestly pick 9 games they're going to win? Just based off the schedule.
I'll go at Arizona.
I mean, think about it.
Washington home.
2. Green Bay.
New England
3.
home, maybe.
4.
Rams home, 5. They're not going to get swept in the division. I think they're looking at 7 wins.
Okay, I was going to say, even if they won 2 division games, 7-9 after 7-10 basically.
Right.
After a 9-7-1 season.
Yeah.
Your fans are going to fall out of love with Dabo real quick if that happens.
Yeah. It's tough, right? I mean, it's that's a challenge. All right, let's go San Fran now. Let's dig into what they're looking at, because I think they're in terms of if home field advantage, you're certainly, these are the teams you're going to be concerned about. Okay. At Pittsburgh, that's a very tough game.
Yep.
Right. At the Rams.
Yep.
I think that's a win. Giants home.
Yep.
Win. Arizona home, win.
Yep.
Dallas home could go either way.
Yep.
At Cleveland is going to be a tough game.
I'm looking at it at the very worst. They're going to be 5-1.
Yeah. Yeah. They could get off to a good start here.
Yes, they could.
At Cleveland, toss-up kind of game. At Minnesota.
Yep. With Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator now.
True.
But Minnesota's let go of a lot of personnel, so we don't know what that Vikings defense is going to look like personnel-wise.
I agree with you. I don't know yet. I need to see a couple weeks of Minnesota before I –
Yes.
Bengals home.
Yep.
Tough game. Bengals are not afraid to go on the road. We know that.
Nope.
Bye week 9, and then at Jacksonville, challenge.
That's a tough game. Yep.
Home Tampa, that's a win.
Yeah.
At Seattle, very tough game.
Tricky game.
At Philly, very tough game. God, they get Seattle again 2 times in 3 weeks. You talked about this yesterday. Yeah, that's crazy. That game's home against Seattle. Then they're at Arizona, should be a win. Baltimore home on a Monday night. That's actually Christmas. That's Christmas Day. That's the night game. That's a nice Christmas night game. Baltimore, San Francisco. Oof.
It is.
At Washington on New Year's Eve. and then the Rams again home to close it out January 7th.
See, those last 4 games are very winnable for them if the quarterback situation is stabilized, which tells me, just based on looking at this schedule, they're the team I'm worried about most getting home field advantage.
I am, I drew the same conclusion out of that, Derek. Like, if you ask me, the NFC East schedules, all of them, especially the Eagles in Dallas, are way harder than San Francisco's.
No question about it. No question about it.
Because they have a big advantage of also with the 2 teams in their division. The Cardinals and the Rams are not very good, where the Eagles got to deal with Washington and the Giants and Dallas, in their division.
Yeah, I think that could be that 4 stretch of games could be the defining factor in terms of who gets home field advantage in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
If their quarterback situation is stable, and you know what, say what you want to say about Brock Purdy, but Shanahan did a great job on that stretch when he got in that role of streamlining that offense to suit his attributes. He didn't have the strongest arm, but he had a great intermediate game. He's deadly in the intermediate game. He doesn't have a great deep arm, but then again, the way they run their offense,
you don't need it when you have those tight ends and those backs and Debo. You don't need to be always bombing it down the field.
No, but not only that, their intermediate routes with Kittle, Debo, and Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
Yeah, all 3 of those guys are great at getting separation.
Yeah.
If that quarterback situation is stabilized from start to finish,
they're dangerous, man. Yeah. Look, Tone and I went through this. We talked some about the Eagles-Giants or Eagles-Niners game last week. I'm concerned about that game. I am. I am concerned about that game.
Yes.
That's for sure. So so just again, I thought it was kind of a fun exercise to look at. I don't know that there's any other teams that I really put in contention to have home field, aside from, really the Cowboys or the Niners. Would you put anybody else in the NFC that you would give consideration to there?
You know what?
Seattle, maybe.
Maybe the Vikings because of the division they're in.
Yeah.
Maybe the Vikings. And you know what? Let's look at now that you bring it up, let's take a look at the Vikings schedule real quick.
All right, let's do Vikings. All right, why don't we do Vikings in Seattle? Just to see what they both look like.
Let's go Vikings first.
All right, they're home against Tampa. Yeah, that should be a win. Then they have to go to the Eagles on Thursday night on short rest. That's a challenge. That's a challenge game for sure. Then they're home Chargers. That's not an easy game. If their defense is in a little bit of flux and Herbert starts getting time and dealing, that's going to be a hard game.
Yep.
They go to Carolina. Like we talked about. Home Kansas City.
Mahomes on that carpet.
Yeah, that's going to be a track meet. At Chicago. Chicago's going to be better. They'll be a pest, I think, but that should, we'll see.
Yep.
They might split maybe. Then they get San Fran at home on Monday night.
Yep.
Then they're at Green Bay, at Atlanta, New Orleans at home, at Denver.
See, New Orleans is my sleeper in NFC.
Yeah, with Carr.
And when we talk about sleepers, I have to clarify. I don't put Detroit in that category because most people expect Detroit to make the playoffs.
Yep.
But in terms of teams that didn't make the playoffs that could turn their seasons around, Atlanta, like you said, it could be one of those teams, and definitely the Saints could be one of those teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, then they get the bye week 13, and they're at the Raiders. Raiders, we don't know what that's going to look like right now. At Cincinnati, that's tough. Detroit home, Green Bay home, at Detroit. So they get Detroit twice in 3 weeks to close out the year.
But
that feels like 9-8 to me.
But I will say this, though, and I've said it time and time again, Kirk Cousins is one of the best regular season quarterbacks you're going to find.
He is.
And look at how many games the Vikings came from behind and won last year. And with a better coordinator on defense now, even though they lost a lot of personnel, I think the Vikings, I think the Vikings could be a 10-11 win team.
Yeah. And he look, that guy we don't really ever talk about him. Was it Kevin O'Connell in his rookie year? Did a pretty decent job there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
First year coach. All right, let's do Seattle. Let's just tackle them right now. All right. So the Seahawks, first game of the year, they will be home against the Rams. So you kind of like their chances there.
Yep.
Go to Detroit week 2. Tough one. Very tough.
Yep.
Yep. Carolina at home week 3. I like them there. I like them in a home setup. Go to the Giants Monday night week 4. Tough game. They get an early.
But I like them against the Giants in that game.
Okay.
It's gonna be a tough one. Yep.
Early bye week 5. Oof.
Yeah, that's not good. Most teams don't like their buys that early.
That's too early. Week 6 at Cincinnati, tough one. Week 7 home against the Cardinals, should be a win. Week 8 Cleveland
At home.
Yeah, at home. And then at Baltimore week 9, tough one.
Wow.
Washington home, at the Rams, San Fran home, at Dallas, at San Fran. There's the 2 and 3 week deal.
Woo.
At the Eagles, at Tennessee, Pittsburgh home. That's a tough. How about this little run? San Francisco home, at Dallas, San Francisco on the road, Philly home, at Tennessee, Pittsburgh home. And then they close it at the Cardinals. But those games leading up to that last game of the season are hard.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You got to battle the Eagles at home and then travel across country to play a physical Tennessee team with DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks, and Derrick Henry. That's a tough one.
Right. And yeah, that's right. That's the other thing with Tennessee is, how dynamic is that offense going to be with adding D-Hop in there?
Yes.
How much better are they going to be? And
absolutely.
We don't even I would assume it's probably still Tannehill at that point, but we don't know for sure
right.
who's going to be in their quarterback. But so there it is. I mean, that said, if I'm looking at the NFC, I still go Eagles, Niners, Cowboys. Then it's Seattle, Minnesota. In that, you could kind of flip either one of those two, I think.
I concur. I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to categorize them, I would have to say yes.
Okay. All right. Let's step aside. Hey, our NFL segment at 2:00. We're going to get into a couple different things. Washington gets sold. Daniel Snyder gets fined. Patrick Mahomes names who he thinks the most underrated quarterback is. Aaron Rodgers on, what the time frame is for him. Dalvin Cook, our greatest series continues. We're going to do the Green Bay Packers. So we got a lot to do then. We'll come back. We'll mix in some Phillies. They're in Cleveland tonight are the Phillies, and they're basically right there in a flat-footed tie for that third wild card. So we'll do all that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Derek. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. All right. So you get rain and maybe some flooding, or unfortunately you have a fire, or you look around, you get some mold and you're not really sure what to do, right? Well, you're probably not equipped to handle that. I know I wasn't, but Pro Action Restoration is. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay. I went through it. It was a Saturday. I reached out to them. They got out to my parents' house right away. They fixed the problem. It was a huge relief for 2 older people who couldn't handle it. And I was there trying to just bail water and whatever. We got it fixed. We got it taken care of. The price was right. The crew was great. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So again, water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760. You can reach out to them online as well, proactionrestoration.com. That's